fast forward a few years later, about 18 years later, AEW came to business. Everyone was amazed, and one of their biggest signings at that one point was the voice we all remember from WCW screaming, "It's Sting!" And it was Tony Schiavone signed with AEW. You were before that with MLW. I remember a few of the broadcasts, and you had also a radio show with them. But what was the thing with AEW that motivated you enough to say, this is where I want to be for the rest of my career?
Well, I think my motivation began with MLW. I think once I got back into MLW and started doing it, I never thought, when I started working for MLW, I never thought it would be a career of mine. I was working for the Atlanta Braves. I was doing their AAA baseball. I was working for the University of Georgia with doing football and basketball on their broadcast team. I was working for a radio station full time. And I lost the job with the radio station. So I still had football and basketball that I was doing. I've always been the type of person to try to supplement my income, to try to just many different jobs. I worked for Starbucks for a year. So then MLW came calling, and at first I didn't want to do it, but then they offered me a little bit of money, not much, but it was helping to supplement the income. And so I started getting back into it, and I realized, I never thought of myself this way, but I realized that my voice from the past was important to the wrestlers, because most of the wrestlers who were wrestling in MLW and who were wrestling on the independently, remember my voice, thought it was a big deal for me to call their matches. So I got to thinking, maybe I can help these young men and women develop their careers and help them progress. So I felt my job was very important to them. So I started realizing back then that, well, maybe there is a place for me in wrestling. I also started doing a podcast called What Happened When with Conrad Thompson. That started in 2017. And we would start watching wrestling matches together on the WWE network or on YouTube. And we would talk about them. And I started watching wrestling again for the first time in 18 years. That got my interest up as well. So I had a little bit of interest going into AEW. And then I had a meeting with Tony Khan. I knew they had this event in in Las Vegas, Double or Nothing in Las Vegas, that I went to, and I was sitting front row ringside as a fan. But I never envisioned them calling on me, wanted me to be a part of the broadcast team. Once I met Tony Khan and got to know him, it was a very easy decision, both financially and I really think it's very important working for a good person and a good company, and that's what we have, and I feel very comfortable. Again, if you go back to my years, my end of the year at WCW, it was not a good place to work. It's with Tony Khan, it's a great place to work, and that's very important to me, especially at my age.
So I'm going to translate this to Spanish. Tony Schiavone, posterior a su salida de WCW, deja de ver lucha libre y comienza a trabajar en otras cosas. Comienza a trabajar con los Atlanta Braves en su liga de AAA como narrador. Comienza a trabajar también con la Universidad de Atlanta como narrador de baloncesto, de fútbol. Y al igual que esto, durante sus múltiples trabajos también trabajó en Starbucks por un periodo de un año. Y MLW de repente lo llama y le dice, quiero que seas la voz nuevamente de la lucha libre. La gran mayoría de los luchadores ahí era algo importante para ellos que Tony Schiavone narrara sus luchas. Y así es como nuevamente comienza a entrar al mundo de la lucha libre. Comienza a hacer el programa What Happened When con Conrad Thompson en el 2017 y posteriormente llega a AEW y tiene su primer evento en Las Vegas y Tony Schiavone va como fanático en ringside en primera fila y lo que menos esperaba era que lo iban a llamar a él para ser la voz oficial de All Elite Wrestling. Conoce a Tony Khan y dice que ahí quedó encantado con su trabajo, con su manera de ser y para él es algo muy importante trabajar con personas que sepan lo que hacen, que sean apasionadas, pero que sean buenas personas también. Y eso fue lo que principalmente lo motivó a llegar a la fila de All Elite Wrestling.